Okay, further changes in the global business environment. This is looking at consumer behaviour. So understand how consumer behaviour is monitored, why it's important, and again how New Zealand businesses are adapting to exploit these changes in consumer behaviour. So excuse me, consumer behaviour. So it's the whole idea of us as consumers, the processes we go through to make consumption, what is consumption of goods and services. So that isn't just the purchasing, but it's the whole searching, being informed, understanding, evaluating, criticising. And in this process of searching, reviewing it, choosing which one we're going to purchase, will we actually go to the action of buying, consuming it, using it in the way which we deem fit, and then the final disposal of all these goods and services. So this is really what identifies consumer behaviour, and in each of these stages are distinct analysis as to how we behave as consumers, which gives organisations an idea as to how to entice us more, how to make that process easier, how to make it seamless, how to make it quicker. So this is the study of consumer behaviour. I mean, largely it boils down to that economic issue of wants and needs and limited means and all that sort of ideas. But really, the key thing that a lot of organisations look is to turn that idea of a want into a need. Need really is the sense of the catalyst that injects that sort of pace into the whole process of what consumer behaviour is. So marketers and organisations, they identify this, and what they try and do is focus on the whole idea that what we desire is because of our own personal need rather than just a want, okay, which can be changed on a whim. So this is really the focus of what consumer behaviour is. And really the identification of consumer behaviour is important because organisations need to make sure that they can propel this behaviour of consumption, because it is what drives our economy in itself. So what key influences? Well, there, as anything we're looking at, it's under dynamic pressures and influences which are constantly changing. So us as consumers, we're bombarded with messages and communications throughout our daily lives. This is accentuated further with the developments in technology that we previously discussed. Even when you're consumers, or if you're not consumers, these messages are coming through. They're coming through loud and proud and direct. Some of them are a little more subtle, but every single, it's a push. It's a push to remind you what's out there, what can be chosen, what can be consumed. And some of the key things is, as mentioned, we are being targeted when we're consuming and when we're not. Even in our sleep, we're being targeted, even if we don't realise it. So they become more innovative through more subtle techniques. And things such as we hear product placement of the Coca-Cola bottle in the prime time TV series, which is going on. These sort of things are very subtle ways to remind us of what's out there and what we can do. So new developments, push advertising. The minute you hit that like button on social media, that triggers a reaction for organisations to identify and link with your profile to recognise that you could be a potential target market. Added to that, we also have more traditional ways. There's a number of sources that we gain our information from. Personal, friends and family, commercial, salespeople, consultants, reviews, which also come up in public sources. And now with the web, and people can put in what they want, when they want, this sense of communication has once again magnified this sense of reviewing. So every organisation now needs to be fully aware that anyone can act as a review, but it's also from where us as consumers get our information. So personal experience, if it's positive, is more likely to be conveyed to third parties, fourth parties, etc., etc. So all of these are different ways in which we gain our information. So further, we get other influences, advertisements obviously. But we are also very selective in our attention. and advertisers and marketers recognise this one, but still the message is still coming across. So from our point of view, we need to be, we are influenced by what we are attentive to, how we interpret it, and also as well how we retain it. What is that one thing that's going to keep us in the forefront of our minds to influence us in the consumption process? So really the trend has been that we've now got increased choice. Now you can argue this is basically may have come from the whole idea of the triumph of capitalism, and it has accentuated that choice. But we've also, alongside this, as mentioned before, we have got real highly defined technical methods to analyse some of this data, which allows us to be able to interpret what choice is all about, why choices are being made, spotting the trends. So the key thing is, although we've got this massive change in terms of the amount of choice which is out there, because of technological advances, we still have a way, a method, whereby the personal touch is still achievable. So therefore, for individuals, consumer profiles are now can be accessed, where traditionally we used to say the personal touch was very much customer service. Now we've got a generation of consumers whose consumption patterns may be done digitally, and so from that point of view, we've now got personal profiles which do the same role of developing that personal touch. However, the argument may be, is it that us as consumers, do we feel that we still have that personal touch given to us, or is it a fact that because we've got our own profile, it just makes it easier for organisations to target us, giving us the impression that that's a personal touch, when really the personal touch, they're doing what they're doing to us, they're doing the same to every other consumer out there. So it's an illusion that personal touch is still there. However, this is just a change in the patterns of consumer behaviour.